I got for selling me clothes, tuppence for selling me blanket. If ever I list for the soldier again, devil shall be me sergeant.
Right, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start this film. Load of interest in the Baker tent I made quite cheaply out of 3 IPKs. So if you discount postage and package, you should be able to bring this in for about £15–16 anyway, a Baker tent. I'm going to show you it in the field first, and then later on at the end of the video, for those of you that want to, I will do a very simple how to make one. And I've got to say, probably if you've not done anything on a sewing machine or you're not very experienced, there's nothing flash or fancy to this design or stitching or using of a sewing machine. So I think this is probably an ideal first project for anybody that wants to have a go. Baker tent, under 20 quid, made it yourself, job done. So thank you very much ladies and gents. I'll show you in the field, then if you want to hang on and you have an interest, you can see how I made it later on. Take care. Alright ladies and gents, there's the old Baker tent set up. I call it Baker tent, I've got no other words for it. All I've done since is, see that there? That's sewn on the front. That can be pulled out a little bit, but even if it was just pegged in the front now, as I've just found out, because it's the first time I've had it up, I've got almost a perfect enclosed sleeping area. Sides will keep the wind off you. And obviously what this is meant to do, and I've just filmed that there because that will go. Oh, big one! At me enough in there is it's obviously, and I'll show you that in a minute, sort of pegged up so it gives you a bigger working surface inside and an admin area. So I'll show you that when I've rigged it up. But yeah, just let you know, there's a few things I've found out I'll need to do, and again it's all about bringing it out. I took it over, so I want a bit of Velcro there and a piece of Velcro there. I'd say, you know, don't spare the Velcro, and on the other side, so I completely seal that. And as we see, it's down the end. I am going to pull the back out because I've sewn them 2 loops on there. I've done them with different colours as I stand out, and you can see what's what. But yeah, that's me front flap. And this piece came out the same bit of the IPK as the sides came out of. So that's 2 IPKs you've got there. So, you know, if you're getting them for a £5, and they're hard to get now because I think I've caused a run on them, is I'm in there for £10 and a bit of strapping and stuff like that. But yeah, that will sort of come out. I'll show you that later on. But yeah, doesn't weigh a great deal. And at this point I'm quite happy with that because I could peg it down there, get in and out and peg it down on that one, and I've got almost by default rather than design a covered sleeping area for when it really rains. And as we can see, it's raining today. Right ladies and gents, just bring you back on the old Baker tent there. I'll put the actual front portion of it, I'll put 3 guidelines on that, and that seems to be enough. I may put another one down the back there, but yeah, underneath there loads of space. Now what I decided to do, and I'm glad I did now, was not to have the ground sheet. I've made a ground sheet for it out of an IPK, so there is now 3 IPKs on this, but I decided not to sew it in because I didn't need to. I'll just put it in there as and when I need to, and I can also use that tarp ground sheet on other things. If it's sewn in, it's a permanent thing there. So yeah, I just thought there and sat there and thought about that. I need to get the right way around there. Going a little bit of adjustment there, so there is, but all that water, well, so it's more horizontal, but that water is well running off there now. I'm trying not to get my camera too wet, but while it seems a myriad of shapes, it's certainly doing the business. And that needs a little bit of working on, doesn't it? Yeah, it's got a bit pulled a bit too taut. But yeah, I can't see that causing Any problems there? Oh. And I'll certainly be warm, dry and more than adequate space under that. That just needs a bit of readjusting. Anyway, take care. Yeah, ladies and gents, just pulled out a couple of tent pegs a little bit more. That one there looks very much like all the waters. Everything's an angle and it's all going to run off with the water. So again, yeah, no problems with that. Quite happy with that. There's the old where Big Marty is, and that's where I'll be sleeping tonight, underneath the old multicam tarp and the old bed thing. Anyway, ladies and gents, I'll leave it up. I say, I haven't sewn in the ground sheet, but I don't really think you need to. You need a ground sheet for it, and you might as well make one out of an IPK, but it don't need to be sewn in. Anyway, ladies and gents, that's the old baker tent. Take care. Right, ladies and gents, obviously there's the ground sheet for the baker tent. Decided not to sew it in. Wasn't actually going to gain anything by sewing it in. Here we see, there's the IPK, that's full IPK, just hemmed and a few tabs put on it. Obviously I can stick this underneath there now, and it's a full length of the tent, but not sewing it in also means that for that size, and you see how big it was, and I'll go in my little shoulder bag, I can always be carrying an emergency type shelter with me, and a very robust one at that, you know, just as a lean-to, or 2.7 by 1.5, and literally, again, there's me sewing, just hemmed it over. Anybody can do that, and put some little tabs on each corner, and there's a few in the middle. So rather than sort of roll it all out and get it dirty, that could be rolled out, and it's the ground sheet for underneath there. And as I say, I thought about sewing it in, glad I didn't now. I don't actually gain anything by sewing it in, but now this is a 2-component baker tent, and that's cool. And it's 3 IPKs, which, you know, probably cost you 5 to 7 quid. So I'm coming in under 20 quid here easily for a baker tent. And again, I could muck about with the old twines there to make it a little bit more squarer, but don't really need it, because as we see, with the back's pulled out, it's made a natural run off for the water. Last night, I guarantee, if I had that tent peg, I'd have pulled it up and stuck a big pot underneath there, would have collected a load of water, because well, the whole day was raining, so was the night. But yeah, and I think I can show you literally how I did this on paper, so anybody can replicate this. And ladies and gents, no matter what you're doing, it's just a simple hemming job. Here, where I joined 2 bits, I did what I call a French seam, which is bent over there. You can see there's that one there, and underneath it's double sewed, 2 lines that. And again, I can show you how to make a French seam with a bit of paper. That's just a little bit more watertight than a normal fold over seam as you seam there. So all you're going to do there really is normal sewing machine. I always think a little zigzag stitch there. Again, it ain't pretty, but each one's separate, and you end up with, you know, an improvised, very, very cheap and efficient baker tent. I guarantee there's no way I'd have got wet under there last night at all. But there's the old ground sheet. I'm not going to split it out. 2 for 1 there, because I can use that on other occasions, because it's not sewn into this. Makes this a little bit lighter, more carryable, and when you're using the 2, you're going to get exactly the same effect as if it was sewn in. So more than happy with this, ladies and gents, and as David said, like, show you how to make it. This bit out of 2 IPKs, and obviously that one out of another. So it's 3 IPKs, baker tent, coming in under 20 quid. Tightwad loves that. So yeah, no worries. I'll do the bit of paper stuff and show you exactly how I've got the measurements and so forth, and how easy it is to do. Literally, you don't have to work no complicated angles for the sides and stuff like that. And I'll show you how that's done when I get home. So take care, ladies and gents. Right, ladies and gents, making a baker tent, like I said at the start of the video, I don't think it's too difficult, and anybody could perhaps have a go at this. Army individual protection kit, okay, really robust material, and like I say, you can get them for about 5 or 6 quid off the internet. You're going to need 3. First thing you're going to need to do, it's 1.5 metres wide by 2.7 long, so more than enough. One, if you just wanted to make a basher out of one. or an improvised shelter, excellent. But literally all you do all the way around it, it doesn't fray, so that is about as wide as the foot of your sewing machine. Turn it over, hem it all the way round. You'll need to do that on 2 pieces of the material, okay? Or if you want a ground sheet as well. This one is my ground sheet. The only difference to the actual top sheet, which you'll be doing, is that I've put obviously a piece of Cordura nylon in there, you know, quartered it across, and then sewed that to that, just to actually give that a little bit more rigidity. So it's a little piece of Cordura nylon. You've got an bergen, or you can buy this for about £9 a metre off the internet, and it's like 150 by a metre, so it'll last you for ages for your little projects and that as well. 100 denier Cordura nylon. But if you've got a stiff bit of material that you're happy with, you can put it in there. It doesn't have to be Cordura nylon, but I do like to use the best kit. Okay, ladies and gents, so you've got the 25mm tie-out points at each corner, 2 down the long side and 1 as a ridge line in the middle of the shorter side, the 1.5 metres. And again, it literally that is the only sewing stitch you'll need, a straight stitch line. And when you go down every single machine, I do that 3 or 4 times, separating the stitch, I cut it and doing a new one, and I do a short zigzag on that. One moment, because my dog's outside and he wants to come in. Right, ladies and gents, so that's that, and there's the IPK. This is the ground sheet one. As I'm using it as a ground sheet, I didn't see the need to put a Cordura nylon sort of reinforcing point on there. I haven't sewed it in because I can use this ground sheet on any other tent or occasion. If I'd have sewed it in, it would have been permanent. You do have the option, and you make that for yourself. So bring you back in a minute and I'll show you how I marked out all the material. And again, it's not too difficult to do. Right, ladies and gents, IPK, like I say, 1.5, more than long enough, and lengthwise on this side, the long side I'll call it, is 2.7. And as you see me done there, that black line represents the actual border I put around it, and for the top of it, that's the piece of Cordura nylon that you've just seen previously, and tie-out points will be there, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and obviously 1 here at each side. So if again you wanted to use that as an emergency shelter, that's where your top line would come underneath. So you need 2 tie-outs on there, okay? And that's just a normal 25mm webbing. You can rob a bit off an old rucksack, or it costs about £1 a metre. Everything materials wise, cotton, strappings, you can all, and the Cordura nylon, you can all just get it off eBay, and it's none too expensive. So literally, ladies and gents, sewed the flap all the way around, okay, just hemmed it, Cordura nylon, just to reinforce each corner, and from each one of these represents a 25mm webbing tie-off point. That's it. That is the top of your baker tent, i.e. it would lean like that. Okay, so when I say the top, it would lean up like that, and the ridge line would come across the front of it. Okay, should have used a bit of cardboard there, but I think you can see what I mean. That's how that is. And if that's all you want to do, and you just want to make a lean-to or a very, very cheap tarp, that's all you need to do, and it's done. And that's all your bits of Cordura nylon are all underneath. And again, ridge line across there, and that'll keep you nice and dry, and all your kit nice and dry as well. Now, if you want to go a little bit further and put some sides on it, and a little shelter that will come out the front for an admin space, then that's none too hard to do. Okay, this is again exactly the same, second IPK. Now, I wanted it perhaps 1 metre off the ground, i.e. the top of it, yeah? So that was measured in 110, okay? So I measured that across and then drew a line down. I left, make sure that's in there, a small piece. Don't take it right to the corner, because remember, you're going to hem this all the way round, okay? Again, like you did with the last one. I didn't draw it on there because then it just makes it too complicated, but you're going to hem this all the way round on your machine, and the hem needs to be about as wide as that pencil or the foot of your machine. So you've got 2 sides now, and then with what you've got left, I did it 1m10, just to allow for a 5mm centimetre turnover, okay, all the way round. And again, there's that one. Don't come down to a point, okay, because you're going to need to put a turnover on these 2. And then what you'll find is that the bit you have left will become the front of the IPK, i.e. the lid area that you can drop down if you needed to, but also you can pull up, as you'll see in my videos. And in this, you don't need to see me cutting up, I'm going to cut these up, but you can see how you get both sides and the front flap out of the second IPK. Right, ladies and gents, here we see that triangular piece. Okay, I've cut it out and I've made two sides from it. I'll have hemmed that all the way around, again about that width or the width of the foot of the sewing machine, so it's all equal all the way around. And this is how, just make sure I'm in shot, it would be sewn onto the top sheet, which we're now calling this. Okay, two pieces like that. Obviously when that's raised up, that drops vertically and that drops vertically. I'll bring you back just a little bit on that. You want to get it all in. And again, once your top is up, ridge line across the front, and that's very much the side of it. Okay. One thing you do need to be careful of, and I'll use this side, is that make sure you get the right side onto it, okay? Because if you sew it on like that, it's too long. Okay, so it will always be that side, which is exactly like 150 side, sew to the 150 side, and the same there. Again, don't do one side and then the other, because it just, as you can see, it just doesn't work out. So make sure you want that flat edge all the way along the front, and when that's lifted up, that will just drop down vertically. Right, so that's the sides done, ladies and gentlemen. Not too hard to do. Like I said, I measured 1m10 and then draw a diagonal line across, i.e. 1 metre I wanted it off the ground, okay, and the 10 was for 5 metres either side, and then I drew a line straight across the corner, giving me two sides. It's not too hard, even Mac Type Web can do that. Now, the next bit was the front. So, remember that big bit at the back? I then cut that directly in half, okay, and what I did there, sewed that down the middle, okay, with what I call a French seam. So that goes over and over. I may show you how to do a French seam if you needed to do one. There's loads of other videos of me doing that anyway. But literally, the front part, so that's now up and you've got the sides on. This part there, cut it in two, sew it there, and the way I did it with the French seam, which is going to use up a little bit, I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and then sewn to the front of the top, okay. The actual tie-out points came underneath, so anything that's on top will run down your top and not underneath onto that stitch line, so that the front would be stitched on top, okay. And ladies and gentlemen, once you've done that, obviously you want some tie-out points. I do one there, one at the corner, and I've done two and one in the middle should I need it. Again, the tie-out points are 25mm webbing, cheapest chips off the internet. So that was sewed to the top, and I found mine hang over just a small amount on each side, and I didn't adjust it. I thought that's not a problem, because if I needed to fold that down, that's how mine came out, using with what was left, just literally cutting it in half, sewing it together with a French seam. So once you've got your sides on, and again you've got to be careful to make sure you get the right side with the right one. Literally when you run your ridge line down there, obviously they drop vertically, they're all pegged in along the back. To show you the back, and then you run guidelines off this, you know, your points where you've got your 25mm webbing, and one on each corner obviously, to keep that up, and that's your rain flap. And you can drop that down. I think I've shown it in one of my videos, which just dropped down and almost it encloses the whole tent. So ladies and gents, I hope that's enough for you to be able to make a tarp tent. The only thing you need to do After that, it's up to you. If you've already got a ground sheet and you've got a poncho that you use or a piece of material, then just throw that in the bottom of it once it's all erected. If you get another IPK, which I've done here, as you can see, and as I showed you at the start, sew round it, again, just that width, and that's about the width of the pencil. As many tie-out points on it as you want. I've got some on the long side and the short side, and that can be shoved underneath. So it's 3 IPKs. Like I say, these come up about £6 or £7 each with a little bit of postage. Sometimes you can get them for a £5. So you can have a baker tent, which you've probably already seen, and it's easy enough to make. Nothing too fantastic about this as well. Careful with your marking out, as I've showed you. Make sure you do the long side and don't sew it down like that, so that one comes at an angle. That's the only sort of pitfall you can really have. So I'll attempt to show you now how I do a French seam using some paper. I don't know whether that's going to come out or not, or I'll include it. But anyway, ladies and gents, baker tent under 20 quid, got to be done. Hope that helps. Mac Tightwad, take care. Ladies and gents, like I say, this piece of material, after you've cut out the sides off that side, you've got that left. Measure it out straight down the middle. Okay, so you've now got 2 pieces. Okay, they will be the same length, obviously. Now the French seam, I always think it's a strong little seam, and it forms a channel inside, so any water, in effect, if it comes through that first line of stitching, should run down, you know, almost like a gutter. So there's the 2 pieces of material. We can see each one's got a black edge. I'll just mark that out. I then put them over like that, and I sew down that line, both pieces of material. Okay, so then I now sew down that, forming the channel. Okay, so I've just folded it over again, and then once we do that, do one more line of stitching across there. No line of stitching ever crosses each other. So literally, as you can see there, there's a little channel inside there, and that's a very strong way and a good way of sewing something that you know is going to have fluids down this. Now obviously you can have all your fab seals, all these joints, especially the ones along the top. I will whack some fab seal in, you know, waterproof your cottons and so forth, and I use Gutermann's polyester. It's not exactly the cheapest cotton, but it's absolutely fantastic cotton. It doesn't rot, swell, or you know, it doesn't even absorb water. But ladies and gents, that's the old French seam. I have one end protruding a little bit, so you sew it down there, turned over, sew it across again, then you take that two like that, and to make it flat you just sew down there again, thus giving you that little channel inside. Then that is then sewn to the front, and like I say, mine had a little bit of overhang outside, which is no problem. That should obviously you end up with a very, very cheap but very, very effective baker tent. Doesn't weigh a great deal either. Also, with an IPK, each one you get the 6 pegs. They make brilliant tent pegs, ladies and gents, and obviously, so when you buy one, you've got loads of tent pegs for other one, because if indeed you want to do it and you want the ground sheet, you're going to need 3 IPKs. I will link to a video that shows what an IPK is, so you can go along and have a look at an earlier film. So ladies and gents, I hope that's been of interest to you. I do get a lot of comments and people, you know, requesting Mac brilliant and all that sort of kit. Can you show me how to do it? And I suppose that's the way my channel's going a little bit. I do make things and so forth, and hey, pass on the knowledge, ladies and gents. So I hope that's been of interest to you, and take care.